Welcome to the Lost Lowdown podcast 134 with your hosts Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
We are back continuing our season 3 commentary series with episode 304, Every Man for Himself,
Yes.
in parentheses, or herself. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's implied.
Yeah. Yeah. Not live together, die alone, but every man for himself.
Yeah, so these are what are these dueling life philosophies here?
I think so. I think
Hmm.
so. I think this is going to be Sawyer's thing here in this episode.
Yeah.
And I mean Sawyer has an arc unlike certain characters.
Who shall
um
remain lockless? Yeah, no,
and
Sawyer has a good arc.
He at this point, I mean, he started it, but he's still it's actually kind of the end of the first phase of Sawyer.
Hmm.
Of him like, it's just all about me and I'm gonna get my stash and I'm gonna, profit from this as much as I can.
Dash, dash, dash. Reading,
Stash,
reading,
stash,
reading.
stash. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, it's probably I would say one of the last times where like Sawyer tries to be an asshole,
Hmm.
you know. But it is motivated by something, and I think he's already on his redemption path at this point.
Yeah, I think there's something here with this episode when he does, obviously getting captured by the others is a big deal, but I think getting to see that he can't just maybe he can't just sit back and be an asshole
Yeah,
until the end of time. Like
right.
there's actually peril and danger from these other people, and he's got to
Yeah,
do something, and yeah, and not not be every man for himself.
right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think
Uh,
he's I feel like he's on board with that. I mean, even before they get out of these cages,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, who knew being trapped in a cage would be good for his character?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Never would have expected it, you know. And yeah, later on in season 6 when they come back here, he finds Kate's old dress and he kind of looks on it like, "Oh man, you know,
Oh,
those are the good
that
old
dress.
days."
Yeah, when a man could get a fish biscuit or the push of a button.
Exactly. Yeah, it was weird. It was really weird to have nostalgia about that.
Yeah.
Especially considering the fact that the the Damon and Carlton always say like this is the worst part of the show.
Mhm.
It's kind of interesting that they actually went back to it
Yeah.
in the last season. Like they didn't go back to Nikki and Paulo, for example.
Mhm.
You know, they didn't go back to Jack's tattoos.
Yeah.
But they did go back to the cages and reference those times.
Yeah. The good
We
times they were.
Yeah, there's actually a whole portion of the final season, even season 5, that takes place on the Hydra Island.
Yeah. Yeah. They come back for some more adventures there.
Yeah, it plays a fairly significant role, which I think is a bit surprising, especially considering the fact that usually when they bring some big location up like this, once they're done with the like initial reason why they brought it up, usually they blow it up or something and they don't go
Mhm.
back,
Yeah.
you know? But
Well, they definitely needed it for the 316 stuff.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that helps, like it sort of separates them
Mhm.
so they can just have their own little world.
Yeah.
Um 'Cause yeah, I mean the 316 story ends up being like pretty self-contained,
Yeah.
you know. I mean they don't really do much, it's kind of like a small version of what happens with the main,
Yeah.
A15 people.
Yeah. It's kind of they got kind of probably the worst Lost Island experience because A, they didn't even get to the main island, and
Yeah.
B, they get killed like right as soon as they get there. They don't
Yeah.
even have time to build a blue tarp
Right.
society. Like that. Nope, guys, you guys are just done for. Sorry, you came at the end of the story when we're wrapping things up.
Yeah. It was a bad time to show up. I mean,
Yeah,
tough luck. That's just the way it happens.
yeah, I'd blame their travel agent on that one.
I agree. I agree. But yeah, I mean, they just have the misfortune of like there's people on their plane that are like trying to go to the island,
Yeah,
and they got Ben on the plane, and they got Ilana, and they have all these like weird
Frank's
characters.
flying.
Yeah, Frank's flying. That's always a questionable sign.
Yeah, I feel like you should always ask your airline pilot, have you crash landed before on any special island, perhaps? If so, I'll take the next one.
Yeah, supposedly he's a good pilot, but I don't know, man.
What does good mean anymore?
Every plane he was ever on seemed to, and helicopter,
Yep.
seemed to crash eventually. Good old, we're going down, Frank.
Yep. Good old say your prayers, Frank.
Yeah, that should have been a sign. But yeah, it's just like they show up, and then there's first of all there's all these weird characters on the plane already. Then it's like there's a Dharma station right there, so it's like,
Hmm.
okay, what the fuck is this place? What's going on?
Yeah.
And and then like the smoke monster's there, and Widmore shows up, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, what are we in the middle of?
Yeah. They thought their airline food was the worst part of that flight.
Oh, airline food jokes never get old.
They don't, do they?
Such a classic. Such a classic. But you know what though? Like airline food really is bad.
All jokes aside, no, guys, it's true.
No, seriously. Having taken a few international flights the last few years, like it really is just lame. It's like I don't understand. I do, but I don't understand why it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God.
Maybe good food turns into bad food at 30,000 feet. Maybe
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I think that's part of it.
If people ate before they took off, the food would be better.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're in the air and you're at cruising altitude or whatever, like, yeah, the food's just worse because
Yeah,
of the lack of air pressure.
right.
Science.
That must be it. I knew it had something to do with science.
Science is always the culprit. Says religion. Ooh.
Oh, sick burn.
Yep. Those two have never had a beef before, and I just started it.
Take that, science.
So we just came off of further instructions, which we kind of agreed was
Bad.
horrible.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see. Sawyer episodes are usually pretty good.
Yeah.
His, even his flashback stuff is usually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I believe this is the Clementine issue here. That's going to come up.
You're right.
So I kind of remember that storyline. But yeah, we're really mainly back to the others and all these cage antics. Kate and her daring escape.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that being really, really funny.
Yeah, that was kind of hilarious. It was like, oh wait, I can just like hop out of this cage.
Yeah. And then of course, spoiler alert, we get the big reveal about where they actually are.
Right.
Because I don't think we knew that at this point.
No.
We saw them. Yeah, because we saw the Losty group here get kidnapped at Polyferry, which is on the island.
Yeah.
And then the next time we see them, they're in the cages and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And why would there be two islands? Who would write a story where there's two islands? A madman. Or a pair of madmen.
Yeah, and we've been seeing things from the point of view of the characters that were captured, and so we have no idea that it's we don't actually even know that there's a question like what island are they on?
Yep. We don't even know to question that. Why would we?
It's like it's kind of a what? Like really?
If somebody
Okay.
was like, you know what, I bet they're on a different island.
Yeah.
You're like, you go die now because that's stupid.
Yeah, that makes no sense. That's
Yeah,
just ridiculous. Like
yeah,
why? Why would they do that? But yeah,
yeah.
that's what they did.
That's what they did.
Um but I will say that if you look at Danielle's map, the two island theory actually had existed before this.
Hmm.
Because it's there, like you can see it, and so they did kind of set it up in a very oblique way that there might be a second smaller island.
Yeah, but
And
the thing is, we I think we assume that between the Losties exploring the island the last two seasons, and with the sailboat going
hmm
around with the mission with Michael and with Sun and Jin and Saeed on the boat. We think, oh well, they would have spotted the island by now
yeah,
if there was a second island, but it's just not true, I guess.
clearly not. Yeah, I don't know, they missed that part somehow, or I don't know,
Mhm.
they didn't get close enough. It was really foggy that day, like I don't know. I don't know what we're supposed to think.
Well,
But
maybe the mini island moves around, like revolves around the main island, just like a
ah,
moon revolves around the Earth,
yeah, that's a good theory.
and then the island, the main island itself, moves around the Earth. So
Of course.
maybe it's like that.
That is an excellent theory. Um,
Why not?
another thing I've noticed, we've mentioned it many times about the rewatch, is that Sawyer is one character that I like so much more on the rewatch than I did in the original run.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I didn't like Sawyer in the original run until like maybe the end of this season. Like it was a
Mhm.
long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, until he shook off the classic Sawyer selfishness.
Yeah.
He had to kind of shake that off and be in it. And I think part of what put Sawyer in that position, besides his natural disposition, sorry to rhyme, is Jack. Is being in a
hmm
situation where here's a guy who wants to be the leader. I need to be the anti-hero. I'm gonna get away from that. I'm only gonna be involved when I have to be or want to be. So I
Yeah.
think that him being out of Jack from under Jack's shadow, I think kind of helps him uh, be a different kind of character, and we of course see that with the LaFleur storyline.
Yeah.
When he gets to that point. But I think even here, like when it's up to him to kind of deal with Cade and deal, be responsible for her safety, like be the main lead. I think he rises to the occasion.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And I mean, they even have a whole plot line later on that I remember where, like, once he gets back to the beach, spoiler alert, um, there's a whole plot about like Hurley trying to make him be the leader.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah, you're
know,
right.
he's like, people are following you now, and you got to act like a leader, and you got to like kiss some babies and like be a nice person.
Yeah, better go kiss some babies.
I remember there's something about he's got to like go like do something with babies. That's what's
Hmm.
in my head.
I literally think it was something like that. Like literally, you need to go kiss Aaron's forehead or something. Like I
Yeah.
don't know,
Yeah, cuz it's like that's the cliche like
politician
politician
thing.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so it's like and politicians are basically, leaders.
yeah.
And so yeah, it's just like your people are listening to you. You need to take responsibility, and there's it's just a mini thing, and they don't dwell on it for a long time in the season. But I feel like that definitely is heading towards the Lafleur subplot.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that's when he really is the leader for years.
yeah, and I really like Sawyer's kind of internal dichotomy. What they really reveal to us by the end of the show is that he could have been a cop or he could have been a criminal, depending
Right.
on certain pivotal moments in his life. And
Yeah.
that's an interesting thing. If not just, oh, he would have. he would have been a bad guy no matter what.
Yeah.
It's like no, he had moments where he could have been like we see in the Flash Sideways. He
Right.
could have been
Right.
more like Jack. And I don't think they say this on the show, but I think there's at least subtext there where um, Jack and Sawyer in a different situation could have been better friends.
Yeah. 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 No, I mean, I feel like they almost have that. I mean, there's that whole thing where like Sawyer tells Jack like you're the closest thing I have to a friend,
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that's really sad
Mm-hmm.
because they're not friends at
Because
that
they're not
point.
friends. Yeah.
It's like, wow, damn
Yeah.
Sawyer.
No, he really spilled his guts on that one. That was a really vulnerable moment for him.
It was. And I really think the LaFleur subplot really shows really realizes that idea
Yeah.
that he could have gone down a different path.
Yeah, all he needed was the right circumstances. And it also talks, says something about how people behave due to expectations of others.
Right.
So if people expect him to be the bad guy, he'll play that part.
Yeah.
But when he's in a situation like with Dharma in the 70s where there's no real expectations on him to be anything in particular, he can choose, he can choose how he wants to behave.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's actually really nicely highlighted, or they really actually nail the point home with the Flash Sideways, and like you
Yeah.
said, just literally telling us like um, that he could have been either one, and it was just about these circumstances and these individual choices he made about how to react to them, but he
Yeah.
always had that. I think that was really nicely done, actually. That
Yeah.
moment where they pretend to have him do one of his cons from the show, but
Hmm.
then they reveal he's a cop. Like, I think that was
Yeah. And it
pretty
really
good.
works because it shows that as a cop, he understands how criminals think because he has that side of him too.
Right.
So he understands how a con's going to work. He understands how to lie and deceive people in the his line of police work.
Yeah.
That really worked, and I think that's what's missing from Locke. From Locke's kind of arc is
Yeah.
that idea of you can be A or B depending on the circumstances in your life and how you react to those. Going back to the main thesis of the show about perspective and meaning.
Right.
But it's not nailed home as well with Locke over the course of the show as it is with Sawyer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think
Because
yeah,
and I think I was gonna say real quick is that I think because Locke doesn't ever understand that, which is
right.
I think what the universe is trying to tell him, what the story of the show is trying to tell him in a way. But Sawyer understands that. He understands because he knows who he is and why he is what he is, and he accepts that for
Right.
himself. Like I said, he plays the part people expect of him, even if that's not the part he wants to play. Versus Locke, who he doesn't even know what he wants. He knows what he wants, but he doesn't know why he can't get it, or even how to get it if he wants it.
Right. Right. Yeah, which is really frustrating
Yeah,
for a character situation. Yeah, so I think it's just by that um circumstance, like Sawyer's story is just inherently more satisfying
yeah, for sure.
than Locke's is, because and I think even in the early part of the show, you really see um uh I feel like you see that side of Sawyer, especially when you know that it's coming. You can see that they've already started developing it earlier, even though it
Hmm.
takes a while for it to be fully, realized.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the nice things about watching the early Sawyer stuff, knowing where he goes. Like, it's just more enjoyable now.
Yeah, because you can see he does a complete 180, so you get to see how far he has to go, and he'll get there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Versus
yeah.
Jack, I think Jack has a less of an arc. He's more or less in terms of his behavior, he's more or less the same person. His main arc, I would contend, is more of it's more of an internal thing in how he decides to interpret things. But he's still behaviorally the same person, more or less, from the beginning to end.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I think he yeah. It's about how he chooses to react to things.
Hmm.
And I mean that is part of who he is, but I think you're right that his, I don't know, personality or disposition doesn't really change as much.
Yeah, I think Sawyer. You take Sawyer out of the pilot and versus next to Sawyer in the finale, and those two guys will look at each other and go, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Like you look like me, but you're not me. But you take the same thing with Jack in the pilot and Jack at the end, and
Yeah.
those guys are pretty much the same.
You can really see the same. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I mean, I think Jack's arc definitely works. And it's really, I feel like in a way, you know, Jack is just, um, he's just really stubborn, and I kind of feel like his story is about him accepting something that he kind of knew was true all along, but wouldn't accept.
Yeah,
You know? I mean, I feel like from very early on, like he's fighting against this thing that he like suspects is true, but doesn't refuses to believe.
yeah, yeah. It's almost the opposite of Locke, where Jack is told Jack is exposed to an idea and he is too stubborn to take it. Where Locke is exposed to an idea, he's over eager to take it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think that makes them, in natural conflict.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense like where the story goes. Um, considering considering that their characters are kind of naturally diametrically opposed.
Yeah, I think you've got Locke on one side and Jack on the other end of the spectrum, and then you've got Sawyer, who's like this third person in the middle, because Jack is a natural hero, more of a classic hero. He could be in an action movie. Bruce Willis could play him in a movie.
Yeah.
He's a guy who will leap into danger at a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Versus Locke, who I think wants to be the hero and isn't really and doesn't know how to be. And then you have Sawyer, who could care less if he's the hero, sort of externally, but internally, there's that dichotomy there where he's got both sides.
Yeah. 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 He can be it under the right circumstances, but he doesn't sort of need to.
Yeah. And it's kind of like he was never really rewarded in his life for being selfless
Right.
and giving,
Yeah.
but when he does get to that point and he is, people do care about him and he cares about other people, he definitely changes his behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
put it this way: if Sawyer had left the island and gone around and tried to convince everyone to come back to the island, they would have believed him.
Yeah. I think that would have turned out it would have been a lot simpler.
Yeah, I think they would have been. Oh, Sawyer says so. Let's go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then no one ever murders Sawyer, and the Man in Black's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah. No, Ben, there's no way Sawyer would die thinking, I don't understand. Like, it would never happen.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Locke, I'm so sad for you.
I
Every
know.
time I think about that moment, it's just
It's
because
pretty
he
sad.
was gonna kill himself, and then Ben's like, no, 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 let me murder you. Don't even, I won't even give you the
Mhm.
dignity of suicide.
No,
You know what I mean?
no. No, he couldn't even have that much. He
No.
couldn't even determine his own point to end his life. Like,
Yeah, that's
no.
that's so tragic. It's yeah.
That's too good for you, Locke.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. That scene is incredible and very fitting, I think,
Mhm.
for the way they treat Locke. It's like, of course, at the moment of his death, it's like it just they make it even more humiliating for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh Ben, you're giving me hope. Like maybe I'm getting the will to live back. Oh shit.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's really weird. It's kind of like you catch a fish and you bring it into the boat and then you're like, "Oh, fish, I'm going to release you." And you toss it back into the water, but instead of falling into the water, it falls into like, a butcher's table or something. It's just like that small bit of hope you gave the fish that it
Yeah.
might, have some hope in its life. It's like, "No, no, 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 no. Why did you think that? I'm just going to kill you."
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you want to get into the episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's get some every man for himself. Okay, guys and girls, sync up with us. Get your players ready. Let's see. All right, let me know when you're ready.
I am ready.
All right, there we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Patience, Jack. I want to be one of your patients.
That's funny because that is what he wants.
That's what he wants.
Oh, Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's on my list for like one of the worst others.
Yeah.
It's that I don't know. That's a stretch. I think they're enemies already, aren't they?
Yeah, that was just textbook psychology.
Yeah.
I'm having a vision, brother.
I see another speech.
Aaron's gonna give a speech.
Oh God. Yeah, this is a little surprising. I would expect them to. I guess they want to sort of maintain this, but I would expect them to drop the Desmond thing for a while.
Yeah, like come back to it as like the next episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of like, I mean, they just revealed that, at the end of the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the first scene here is about that again. Because we already know.
Yeah, just in case you forgot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what this is about is um, Charlie realizing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess Hurley already knows. But yeah, I don't think Charlie didn't hear that conversation.
I kind of hate that line. We got to get this guy another button to push because he hadn't
Mm-hmm.
pressed the button for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like that's not what I mean. Say that about Locke, or
Yeah.
maybe Echo, but like Desmond's a little far removed from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a stretch. Definitely. Well, I guess
Sandwich time.
yes, sandwiches.
Got a toothpick?
That's my favorite.
Ha!
I don't know, Jack.
It's all about the Benjamin.
Benjamin.
A little formal. No, that's actually not true.
Oh.
That's actually not true. Ouch.
Yeah, Jack's getting snarky.
Yeah, I love exacerbated Jack when his eyes are a little bit wider and he's
Yep.
like antsy. He's great.
Yeah, Crazy Eyes Jack is the best.
Yeah.
The sub.
Sub.
Oh, that's the reveal. I guess that tells us that they did take the sub to get the boat.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because this is Colleen right here.
Yeah,
Because we were talking about that in the Glass Ballerina, like how they got to the boat.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Nice.
Oh, Chinatown reference.
Chinatown. Jack. Jake Giddies with the broken nose.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That's an
Such a
awesome thing about
specific
that movie.
reference. Like, did Pickett even get that? Like,
I feel like he's never seen it.
he's like, I don't live in Chinatown.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes no sense.
As little as possible.
How much does Ben care? I'm surprised at how he kind of ran out there.
Yeah.
I mean, is he really attached to Colleen? I mean,
Nice. I'm just wondering if they knew who shot her.
yeah. Yeah, he really is just like, well, it's them and us, and they probably wouldn't have shot each other, so
Yeah, yeah.
it must have been. And he's right. We know he's right.
Mm-hmm. That's old assassin son.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't expect that it's Sun.
Yeah.
I feel like no one does. She never really has to answer for that.
No.
But I guess Sawyer kind of gets punished for celebrating.
Mm-hmm. He's good at that.
He is. Like the controlled way he throws the rock.
Yeah. Nice and easy.
Yeah. The music.
Yeah, I think the music's superfluous to the whole idea of what they wanted to
Yeah, it
propagate.
makes no
It's like
sense.
circus music. Why?
Yeah. I don't get it. It's like they're training circus bears. Though I don't know why they would play circus music for circus bears, except to maybe get them used to it. Oh, Sawyer's swimming hole.
I don't know.
It's so sad.
I almost understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the electricity is going to get to the water, though.
Uh, he's gonna he's gonna touch the thing and then it'll go through him, I guess. He's gonna put his foot in the water. Well,
Oh,
I
but they're
think.
wearing like rubber sole shoes.
Maybe he'll take his shoes off.
But the other person's going to be wearing rubber sole shoes too.
No, but he'll touch the other person. It won't go through the shoes.
How's he going to touch the button and the person?
Oh shit. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Oop.
I guess we'll see how they
Maybe the
take
others don't
that.
wear shoes.
Because they do.
Sometimes they don't, but yeah, they do.
He looks like a nice guy. I can read lips, Sawyer. Seinfeld reference?
hmm
Wow. I bet he sits up at night thinking of references he'll use the next day.
Oh, I'm sure. Step 3? No, there's only 2 steps.
Two step. That's the Texas two step.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's where it originally came from.
Okay.
Turned into a dance later.
People eating always seems threatening.
Yep.
Seems
When they're
like
eating
this.
casually like this, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't actually usually see people eating a lot in scenes because the actors can't talk, and it's
Right.
bad for continuity.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, they usually just leave their stuff
Yeah, if
uneaten.
you ever see, it's so funny when you see like restaurant scenes and it's like they get their food and they just keep talking and they don't
Yep.
actually start eating.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's like sometimes they'll order something, it'll come and they won't even touch it.
Nope.
And then they leave.
Then they leave. They just
It's
want to
like,
order it.
wow, they didn't pay and
Yep.
they didn't even, yeah, it's crazy.
He's like, I wish I had that apple now.
Mhm. Kind
Oh,
of
is
hungry.
he wearing shoes? Yeah, he's wearing shoes.
Okay. Yeah, Ben's wearing shoes, of course. All right. Well, we'll see how this works. Yeah, he's supposed to step in the puddle. I guess they messed this up a little. Maybe if they're deep enough, it'll go like over the shoes.
Yeah. But who wants to get their shoes wet?
Well, not Ben, clearly.
Ooh, don't lie. I see those
Ouch.
wrinkles. He should know all this.
I think he does. I think that's why he knows he's lying.
Oh, he was gonna do that.
Yeah. So
Sayonara.
he's barefoot.
You know what? Another plan that could have worked is that stick Sawyer had. He could have just jammed it in the guy's neck.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good idea. So here's Ben's like whipping stick.
Yeah, he's got the whipping stick.
I remember thinking this seems weird. I mean, in general, like the idea that Ben has a weapon, like,
Yeah.
is a bit off to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just strange to see him get physical because he's such a more of a I talk and other people do stuff.
Yeah. This is where we harvest your organs.
Oh yikes!
Yeah, the needle's a little oversized.
Oh wow! So now we know like he's hearing a real thing.
Yeah. But the question is, how is he hearing it? Because, usually intercoms you have to press a button.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems a bit contrived, but it's like I guess the intercom's kind of broken, and so it's just turned on for some reason.
Intermittently, it just
Yeah,
broadcasts.
yeah. So that makes me think like the smoke monster was in that room.
So then we get Paulo. Like,
Yeah,
not only is he here, but he's playing golf.
yeah, yeah. I hate him already,
Yeah.
and I think this also is bad because he's kind of an ass to Desmond.
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't make us like him.
No. And this is food. Isn't this
Yeah,
food?
it's food. This is like what Hurley and Libby did, or just like,
I guess they don't need. Those look like limes or something. But it's like, don't we need that food?
yeah, exactly. It's like somebody collected those mangoes. Like, do
But
you really
those
want?
were mangoes, were they?
They weren't mangoes. I don't know what
Well,
mangoes look
they look
like.
pretty small.
Some kind of fruit,
I
island
thought they were
fruit.
limes.
I just assume every fruit on the island is a
The
mango.
mango, yeah.
Oh,
Epical
right.
Nate.
Right. I remember this scene like really freaked me out the first time I saw it.
Yeah, this is out of nowhere.
This red-eyed rabbit is creepy looking.
And then he shakes it
The
like this.
shaking. The shaking is so crazy.
Yeah.
And like when they show the rabbit, it looks like it's gonna transform or something.
Yeah, it looks like it's metamorphosizing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking
Like hippity
terrifying.
hop.
Yeah. I don't know, that ticker line sounds a bit weird to me.
hmm
I mean, I guess maybe he's supposed to be old school or something, but
Yeah, it's kind of colloquial. Like maybe they're
yeah.
trying to get where he's from.
Oh shit. It's kind of like Speed, but
Yeah.
in a body.
Huh?
Speed was Die Hard on a bus, and this is Speed in a body.
Yeah. I don't know. He just had heart surgery, guys. Really?
Yeah. I mean, we should be asking that question,
Yeah.
but I
But I
have to
totally bought
admit,
it. Yeah, I
yeah,
totally bought it at the time.
me too, because we just don't know the others yet, and I kind of believe that maybe they're capable of that.
Yeah.
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 So you say, but you did like kill a lot of people, babe. Hey, nobody's putting anything in her.
Except me.
Don't talk to me. My heart's racing.
hmm
It's my calm down bucket.
Wow, his watch said he was at 120 sitting down.
Wow.
Unless the time was 120.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Can he tell her that he can't tell her something? Does that count?
Yeah, it's a good question. That seems like that would be a good loophole.
Yeah, like, listen, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
he would just be in so much more pain if
Yeah,
they had opened him. I mean, I don't know how a pacemaker really works. Maybe it's just kind of under the skin, but
yeah,
it seems like he'd be in a lot more pain if
I
they had
agree.
really put something in there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh-oh.
lunchtime. I don't tell you when I get wrist jewelry, wrist accessories. You want to see my anklet?
Ice bucket challenge.
Mm-hmm. The first ice bucket challenge. Nice. We wouldn't have thought of that back then.
Yeah, you're
It wasn't
right.
a thing.
No. That's how you know it's 2014.
Yep.
All
That
you
and a
future
Metallica.
listeners listening in 2320.
That's a lot.
I hope our podcast lasts that long.
Yeah.
Oh, Cassidy. Ah, so she's the reason he's in jail.
Mm-hmm. The
I feel
con.
like I forgot about that. I
Mm-hmm.
just assumed he was in jail for some random thing. Because it seemed like in that episode he got away with it,
Yeah.
but he went to jail for it. Oh man, not a baby.
There's a baby.
This brings up something that I was thinking about as far as Clementine. Uh, I feel like they don't quite commit enough to Clementine. Like I feel like it's a little disappointing that she's not. I mean, I guess because she's not really a part of the show ever, but that she's not there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would presume that even though Cassidy obviously doesn't like Sawyer and isn't going to take him back when he comes back home, like uh I still think he would try to see her.
I think
The
there's
Sawyer
some
that goes
part
back.
of the story where doesn't he try to take care of her since he sets her up with money or something, right?
Yeah.
And
He
that's
well
about it.
that's in this episode.
Oh, okay.
And he tells Kate to like go, get her the money, I think, but she doesn't really do that. She just kind of checks in.
Yeah.
Um
Oh, because she doesn't want the money or something.
she just gives her like money from Oceanic, but it's not really the
Yeah.
same. They actually don't bring up the bank account again. But I feel like the Sawyer who leaves the island would want to go see Clementine,
Yeah. No.
you know? And he would have been involved in her life somehow after that period. And she's not that old when he leaves, So it just seems weird that she's not even mentioned. You want me to save her life?
Classic.
Oh yeah, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
He hasn't even seen them, and they almost make it look like he heard something.
Yeah, he heard something, but he couldn't tell.
Yeah, bastards. This is a con right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ben's not angry anymore for some reason.
Mm-hmm. He's like, and scene.
Oh, were those? Oh, did I leave those up there? Oh dear, those were secret.
He should know that. Liver clamp. You don't have the hands of a surgeon.
I think it helps that Jack doesn't know her.
Yeah.
Then he can
Or
just kind
that
of,
she just tried to kill Son and
yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah.
he can just kind of abstract it out. Like, this is a patient who's dying. I'm gonna do my
Hmm.
best. Doesn't work though.
I don't know if we ever talked about this, but doesn't this say something about Jacob and the island healing properties that she's gonna die from this?
Does it?
Like, shouldn't they think? Oh, well, of course Ben too. That's kind of, well, Ben is thinking about that, but
Yeah,
the idea of like we're following this guy, but she's gonna die.
yeah, yeah. No, you're right. I would say, I mean, people can die, right? I mean, we've seen people die.
Well, we've definitely seen people die, but I'm talking about in terms of the others and their whole belief system.
Yeah,
Just in terms of what they should think.
I see. I see. They should expect that they can get shot and not die. Or
No,
maybe
they
your
should
point is
say,
she should go to the temple.
well, that, or I'm saying they should go, wow, if she can die, then what are we doing here following Jacob? What's up here?
Right.
But I mean, that's what Ben thinks too, of like, you never healed me and I'm dying from this
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah. Yeah, and then this is the plot line that I just never thought worked. Where Pickett's like, I'm gonna blame Sawyer for all this.
yeah, I'll
'Cause
buy that he's
like,
got to take his frustration out on somebody, and Son's not, he didn't even know who shot her,
right,
and he's like, your people did it. I hate you the most, so I'm just gonna beat you up.
right.
I mean, it's illogical, but blind anger is illogical. So,
True.
you know, I
But
think this part, the connecting it to Kate having to Professor Love is a bit of a leap
yeah, yeah,
because that
totally.
gets their romance kind of going,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
at least it brings it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
it should have
like
been like, do you love him? Because if you like, I'm only gonna hurt him if you love him. If you don't love him, I'm not gonna hurt him because there's no point.
yeah,
He should want to, take something away like he had something taken away.
right.
But
Right.
but doesn't he stop when she says I love
He
him?
stops
Like,
when she says it, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's not quite what it should be, I think. Um yeah, I don't know. Uh, I just feel like there's a version of Pickett's story where he becomes obsessed with getting the person who killed his wife. You know, not like whatever random person who's associated with that person who happens to be nearby.
Well, I
You
mean, this
know?
is what happened in the moment right after she died. Like, I would agree that like he might be like, okay, now I'm gonna go find the person who did this.
Yeah. No, but it continues. Like his thing with Sawyer is ongoing,
Yeah.
and he just it's
Well, because he's not gonna get Son, right?
right,
So they gotta write that conflict and that anger towards somebody. But yeah, I
right.
mean, it's not perfect for sure. One more, please. No, just two. Who gave him new water?
It's a good
Who put him
question.
back in the cage?
They refilled his water. I don't know. Wait, wasn't he in the cage before? Oh, they took him out.
They took him out and beat him. He was next to Kate's cage.
Right.
We just missed.
Yeah, I guess someone came out and put him back. Ugh.
I was born to climb.
Yeah, she's definitely a monkey in another life.
I love how easy that was.
Yeah.
She like never thought of that before.
Yeah.
And can't he climb out of his then?
You would think so.
Maybe he's a little too big, but
Yeah.
oh, the rain, yeah, gonna rain now.
Yeah, the rain was really sudden there. They do that sometimes.
It's a bomb. There it is. Every man for himself.
Yep.
Why would she love him again?
Uh
Because of what?
cuz he's Sawyer.
Because he's Sawyer? Yeah, like that's about it. Because he's so lovable.
I don't think there's a big reason.
And it's not raining anymore.
Nope.
What happened?
It
Why
was
was
a
it
really
raining for
fast
30 seconds?
rain.
That's so weird. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe something will happen. I don't remember. She's good at that. She practiced.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's better if they escape at night anyway. Boom! Back in your face.
Bam. Take that, Sawyer.
Nice.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's nice about this show. They get those little running catchphrases.
Yeah.
It's really
Those switches do nothing.
okay, man.
And he's like handcuffed. Wow. Yeah, I guess Ben wants Jack to feel some sort of doctor guilt about someone he couldn't save, and then he'll get an opportunity to save someone, which will make him maybe more prone to do that.
Oh,
I
that's
think that's the
logical.
idea.
Yeah. I see. I was thinking it was like, I want you to think about what your people did. You know, like it was some
Uh,
kind of weird punishment thing. But I think what you say makes more sense.
and plus, they want to have this scene.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a test.
Mm-hmm. See, that should be comforting. Because that means
Yeah,
I
but it's
mean
not.
it.
But yeah, but it's kind of like, oh, then I haven't won you over yet.
Right. Right.
They're yours, Jack.
They're the aliens. Yeah, if that isn't proof of God, I don't know what is.
He could probably figure it out. Like, okay, who could it be? It's got to be a guy in his 40s. Okay, there's only like three or four people you've seen that's in their guy in their 40s. It's
Yep.
probably the most important guy in their 40s.
Yep. Yep. No, I think he does figure it out.
Yeah.
I think there's a scene where he guesses what it is.
Oh, this.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess what they're really introducing here is not just Desmond predicts the future, but Desmond is preventing Charlie from dying.
Mm-hmm.
But they're doing it obliquely here. We don't know here that it's about Charlie and not Claire.
Yeah.
A lot of variety in that fruit salad.
It's a pretty nice fruit salad.
Yeah.
It's more than just mango.
Yeah. I'm impressed. I feel like I'd be too lazy to do that.
Yeah.
Like, just give me
I
my
would just have
fruit.
like one piece of fruit and be done with it.
Exactly. Why is Aaron crying so
Maybe,
much?
well, the thunder and lightning and rain
Oh, right.
and the wind.
Good point.
Maybe that's why it rained in over here earlier.
Oh, for continuity.
For continuity, yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That's a good point. That tells us like that scene was earlier where
Yeah.
Kate got out of the cage. Cause like now it's kind of nighty looking. The timeline's weird here. Always.
Yeah, they're skipping a bit, but
Yeah.
'23.
Oh, it's a number, of course. I don't want to sponsor a bank right now.
Mm-hmm. I like that there's a special checkbox on the bank form. Make sure no one knows who opened this account. You just check that box and they do it.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, yeah, I get what he's saying about that line, but people make deals all the time to get out of prison. A plea deal
Yeah.
is part of law.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. But yeah, yeah.
Ha! Hey,
Uh-oh.
he's so good with the references.
Yep. Yeah, high and low. Like he knows classic literature and like random weird TV shows.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just take me out here to like make my heart go fast so I die, right? This is so lost.
Yeah, for sure.
And that tone that Ben has, that's Damon and Carlton.
Yeah.
Like, why did you think this was something else?
Mhm.
Why did you believe? Look, the bunny's not even
See, and
dead.
that's the other part too. First of all, any bunny could have 8 on it, but
Yep.
like, yeah, the bunny's not even dead. Like, there you
He
go.
does say that.
See, and that's
Yep.
again a lost
So
thing.
lost.
How do we know what we think is true? Yeah, you don't.
You don't. You just don't.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Exactly. We gave you an answer. Whether you
Yep.
choose to believe that answer or not is up to you.
Yep. That's not the first punch I've taken.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the local punching bag. Oh yeah.
What the F?
Holy shit. Say what now? I remember being really disoriented by that at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do a good job of like giving you the right idea right away.
Hmm. Yeah, comparing it to Alcatraz in San Francisco.
Exactly. I wouldn't say
Does he
love.
love it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a stretch.
It would have been interesting if he says come to know and loathe.
Yeah. For Sawyer, that would make more sense. Con.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
So why didn't they just threaten her then? Stay in line or I'll kill Kate. Why go through the pacemaker?
I remember when he started doing this quote, I was like, okay, this just got weird.
Yeah. He's calling the bison men.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I realized, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like the sickness?
I feel like Sawyer's like, I only saw the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like that was also one of their books of the book club or something, because he just couldn't remember. Like he just had that whole quote ready.
Yep. Yeah, and it's I mean, Sawyer references like the most common thing people quote from the
Yeah,
book, whereas Ben just pulled out like a quote I've never heard anyone say anywhere
yeah,
else. And so it's like, yeah. I still feel like Sawyer's read it though. He's a reader.
yeah.
Oh
Lost.
shit, that was the end.
Did.
Alright, I wasn't expecting Lost. I was like, okay, next scene.
No, I
No,
mean,
it was
once you
Second
reveal
Island.
once you reveal the second island, it's time to end the show.
There's no need to keep the show going. No, that was good enough. That was good enough. That was a reveal, definitely.
Yeah,
I
that
appreciated
was
that.
huge. I mean, that changes everything.
It does.
Like the Losties on the main island. There's no way they can find these guys, even
Yep.
if they search the whole island, because they're not on the island.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We can give up a lot of hopes right now.
Yeah,
Even if Kate can, get out of her cage.
yeah, exactly. She can get out where she's gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah, she can't just like swim back.
No
So,
swimming for you.
exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, part of the plan with Jack seems to be to manipulate. They're bringing in like they're getting Sawyer and Kate together, and then they're gonna like show Jack, and then he's supposed to get like jealous or something, and then they're gonna bring in Kate, and like it's a whole thing that
It's
they're
really, really
running with them.
convoluted. I mean, why not go, Jack? Listen, we've got Sawyer and Kate in cages. If you don't do my surgery, I'm going to kill them.
Yeah,
And there's something about wanting Jack to decide to do it.
yeah,
I think that's part of the con is it's not enough
absolutely.
to threaten him into doing it. He's got to want to do it.
Mhm.
Which I don't know if that's just a contrivance because it's better writing that way, because it's a harder task to write a character to be convinced of something than just to threaten the character to do it.
Right.
So I don't know if it's a contrivance of the writing or if it's supposed to be more specific to Ben's character and Jack's character.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. Um I mean, in general, I feel like, I mean, it's a classic thing. We're talking about the loophole plan. I mean, Ben's plans. I mean, his whole thing. I mean, it's more than this. Like supposedly his big plan includes such elements as, uh, sending Michael back, uh,
Hmm.
Ben himself getting captured. Um, then Michael releasing him and leading the rest of them to the others.
Yeah.
And that's
See, and I don't.
before they even get to the cages.
And I don't know how, like, I don't know how Ben would go. Okay, I want Jack because I want him to do the surgery. Okay, the other people I want are Sawyer and Kate because I'm gonna use any romance between them against Jack. Like, how would he know that there's anything between them, or could be
Yeah,
something between them? So it's weird for him to have that much forethought about it.
yeah.
But maybe it's like, okay, well, I'll get them for leverage, and I'll figure out how to use them later, and then
Hmm.
he realizes what he can do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it could be just improvised
Yeah,
based on what he's got. Like, I think this will work based on what I've seen. That sort of makes sense, I guess.
yeah. The Desmond predicting the future thing came and went really quickly. Like they didn't
Hmm.
even comment on it; they just showed it
Hmm.
and moved on,
Yep.
which is really interesting.
Yeah, it was really just keep the thing alive in the mind of the audience, and I guess if you want to speculate, like at this point, you know, maybe if you're a really crazy person who doesn't make logical deductions, then you might say like, oh, maybe he had a vision of Charlie's death, and you would
I
foresee like where the plot's going.
Well, I think even that's too crazy at this point because we don't know who was saved. That lightning struck kind of in the middle. I mean, you can maybe be crazy and say, well, it would have hit Claire's tent where the baby and Charlie was, but where the lightning hit was drawn to the lightning rod, of course. So I don't even think you can really jump to who specifically was saved. Just that somebody was saved, right? Like I don't know how it's clear Charlie would be saved at this point.
Based
And then
just based on that scene.
yeah, just based on
Oh
that scene.
hell no, it's not at all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like you would have to make a huge crazy leap that doesn't involve any like
yeah.
logic.
I'm just saying I think the craziest leap you can make at this point is he's predicting the future and he saves somebody.
Yeah,
Like you couldn't predict. I mean, anyone, Charlie and Claire and Aaron, they're all equally saved. So
right.
picking Charlie would be way past crazy.
And if I remember right, I think that's the reveal.
Hmm.
Because I think you think it's Claire at first.
Yeah,
They make you think it's Claire, and then they surprise you with no, it was Charlie the whole time. Um, But yeah, yeah. So maybe, yeah. But I still think you wouldn't see that plot like coming. I would never guess like the whole season's gonna be about like Desmond's story. This whole season is gonna be about how he keeps seeing Charlie's death and he keeps preventing it.
yeah.
And at a certain point, he, you know, he's like he can't do it forever and he's ready to give
Hmm.
up, and like Charlie finds out about it and he has to like accept that he's supposed to die.
Man, it would have been really interesting if this whole predicting the future thing had come into play later in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Or they said, okay, really
If
what happened
only.
was the implosion it exposed him to electromagnetic radiation, similar to when he goes to the Flash Sideways world, and that's how he's getting those visions. He's seeing an alternate reality or something.
Yeah.
And then have that come back into play later. Where Desmond sees the future of something that's important. But yeah, they just kind of drop it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like after Charlie dies, it's just over.
Yeah.
And they don't really even mention it. No one later on is like, "Yeah, Desmond, can't you like see the future or something? Like, what happened to your flashes?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's, I feel like they just don't really explain it. And because his superpower later is he can like withstand electromagnetism, which is a weird power anyway. I mean, I think it should have tied together, you
Hmm.
know. And it seems like it does because it seems like it was the hatch implosion that gave him this power. And I always assumed that it was the hatch implosion that gave him the other power. Although then you might say, but that doesn't make sense because he needed to have the power to live in the first place.
Yeah.
So then I don't know how he got the power.
I
'Cause
I I want to say something like the implosion. If we try to make it all fit in the totality of Desmond's storyline, I would see something like the implosion sent his consciousness to the future, where he saw various versions of Charlie dying. He
Mhm.
saw the flashes before his eyes or whatever. Like,
Mhm.
and so that's what he got from that. So it ties into the constant and all that with him time traveling with his mind.
Mhm.
But he went to the future instead.
Right.
Something like that, I think, could be interesting. But I guess really what's happening is they're really, I mean, it's not like we said, it's not obvious from this scene, but what's clear later when we know it's about Charlie dying is they're really foreshadowing his eventual death,
Yeah.
which is a kind of weird thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird to have a whole season arc that's just about that,
Hmm.
about how um
And it seems like he doesn't actually see how he eventually dies. He sees all these other ways he could have died.
yeah. Well, I think yeah, so here's the problem. I mean, that's something we'll have to talk about as we sort of get to the end of season 3, but you know, we see a lot of these flashes, like they start showing them. And so we get an idea of like what he's seeing.
Yeah.
um there's one where Charlie gets like an arrow in the throat or
The
something, and
arrow. Yeah.
yeah. But at the end he says that he sees Charlie like go in a room and like push a button and then he drowns.
Oh, he did say that.
And so he does kind of call what happens.
That's right.
Um, but it's like, I mean, he doesn't mention like some of the other stuff that was going on,
Hmm.
you know, like Mikhail showing up with a grenade, and you know.
I still think Mikhail's alive, by the way. I'm still not gonna let that go.
He was in a flash sideways.
Everybody was in the Flash
Yeah,
sideways.
okay, you're right. You're right. He could still be alive. That's pretty. That's a hilarious theory that I appreciate your determined.
I'll never. He was on the Outrigger. That's all I'll say.
He was on the Outrigger. No, of course. I should have
Oh man,
known.
it's the ultimate MacGuffin, that Outrigger.
It is. It is. It's a catch-all. Everyone who never gets a resolution was on that
On
Outrigger.
the Outrigger. That's what happened.
No, but the other thing is, of course, he speaks that, and like it seems like that sort of fulfills what he says, but there's also the infamous and I see Claire and her baby getting on the helicopter.
Oh God, that never happened.
It never, ever, ever happens.
Yeah, yeah, that's weird. That's a weird one.
Yeah, something went wrong there,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it was.
I can't wait till we get back to that part of the story because I'm curious if he's lying,
Hmm.
like if it's just a lie to get him to do something.
Yeah, like a lot of people have brought that up, and I feel like honestly that's a pretty logical, probably one of the better explanations
Yeah.
that fits, that explains what we see on screen, and that doesn't rely on, well, it's just shitty writing that they forgot to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like that's the explanation I tend to go to, but the thing is that I just think if that's true, I feel like they don't play it like it's true. You
Hmm.
know, I feel like there's never a moment where Desmond like accepts responsibility for sort of lying to Charlie to get him to die. Like his moment where he sees Charlie die, I mean, it's played sort of sentimentally, and I feel like there's no guilt on Desmond's part, and he's portrayed heroically, and so it just seems weird if he lies to make Charlie like die, if they don't acknowledge that on screen. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's what I wish. If he really is supposed to be lying, I wish Desmond sort of took responsibility for that at some
Yeah.
point and really
Deleted
was
scene.
like, yeah, yeah, I want my deleted scene where he kind of feels guilty about bringing Charlie to his death, and that's something they could have addressed even as late as a Flash Sideways if
Well,
they wanted
but how
to.
guilty can he feel when he saved Charlie from dying so many times before, and Charlie dies kind of in the most heroic way possible? With the most positive
Yeah,
consequence, not just an arrow in the throat. And I think there is something that they get to about Desmond can't stop him from dying forever or something. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. They do say that.
one of these deaths is gonna have to happen.
Yeah.
So, but I agree with what you're saying. Like, it would have been nice to have that confirmation just to clarify the point of the helicopter vision.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's kind of true that since he only tells that to Charlie, it doesn't really matter that much after he's dead.
Yeah.
But just to like use, something that really doesn't come true. I mean, she's stuck on the island for years and years and
Yeah.
years afterwards, and Man in Black swoops in and claims her and makes her go crazy, and she's like got a squirrel baby, and it's like all this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
Hillbilly Claire. Yeah, a
yeah, like
Wilderness
all the
Claire.
crazy shit that happens to Claire, it just feels like that's really the fact that he's like, oh, she's gonna be totally fine. Her and her baby, they're gonna be together on that helicopter,
I,
rescued.
I also wonder if maybe they thought, they're like, okay, well, Claire and Aaron will get off the island by the end of the story.
Yeah,
Maybe they thought it would be via helicopter
yeah, that's
instead
what
of a
I think.
plane.
That's what I think. I mean, my personal opinion is that they did intend at one time for her and Aaron to get off the island on a helicopter.
Yeah.
And their plans changed, and they just didn't think it was important enough to write in some kind of explanation
Hmm.
for what Desmond said. And they just
Yeah, because
figured,
nobody else knew he said that.
right,
It was between him and Charlie was dead.
no one's
So
going to bring it up,
yeah,
you know. But like, I mean, if they wanted to in the afterlife or something, like Claire could have been like, "Yeah, I was stuck on the island for 3 years after you died,"
hmm.
and then Charlie could be like, "Desmond,"
Hold up.
and Claire could be like, "I never got on a helicopter, and
Hmm.
Aaron got
Yeah,
off without me."
yeah. Charlie could have been like, "So how was the helicopter ride off the island?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? I never was on the helicopter."
I guess that's part of that scene that we want, that we've
It
talked about so many
is.
times,
Yeah.
where they could have learned like, oh, that's what happened. And Desmond's like,
Hmm.
sorry, brother, I
Yeah, exactly. That's what's weird about being dead. Being in an afterlife. What a phrase. Is
It is weird.
it nothing really kind of matters. Like how important is your former life when you're in flash sideways world, and you're about to embark in the next level of consciousness. Like, how, it's
Mhm.
almost like, who cares what you did or said back then? That was literally eons, like
Yeah.
that it's so far removed from that time that it's almost not worth talking about, other than it'd be interesting for us to see,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, I mean I agree. Like it's a hard scene to like fit into a dramatic context,
Hmm.
you know? And so I kind of understand why they don't have very many scenes like that, but it is, as an audience member, it's frustrating because they kind of leave these things dangling out there.
Yeah.
And this is not answers. This is not like me talking about like you never told me where the pallet drop came from or something.
Yeah.
This is a character thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wish they had managed those things better.
Yeah.
Considering the characters are supposed to be the focus. I mean, I do feel like the Flash Sideways, once they're awake, there isn't, and this goes back to what you were saying in the last podcast about coming home from the journey with the elixir and sharing it, you
Yeah.
know, with the people. Like that's the thing that's what I wanted more of that at the
Yeah.
end,
Yeah.
definitely. And the scene in Deep Space Nine, like they don't talk about everything
Yeah.
on screen, but we at
Yeah.
least get the idea, you know?
We see a point which they could have discussed whatever they want to talk about,
Yes,
because they're all there after the fact.
exactly.
They're not in a mission. They're literally just hanging out, reminiscing about the fact that they all made it, and yeah, then it's your imagination can fill in the details about what they could have talked about and what they could have resolved and what information they could have shared. And yeah, we don't actually have to see it, but I
Yeah.
almost, it's, again, it's the church scene, it, that idea is there that they could
Mhm.
have spent 5 more minutes in that church, 30 minutes, an hour. What
Mhm.
was the rush to get to the light? I don't know what the
Yeah.
rush was.
There shouldn't have
Like,
been a rush.
there shouldn't have been a rush. Time isn't ticking away,
There is no
right?
now here.
There
Yeah.
is no now here. Oh, jeez. Oh, I got
Yeah.
to get that on a bumper sticker. Uh, there is no now here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of sad that they couldn't just have hung out, that they just get some flash sideways drinks, or
Mhm.
something. I almost wanted, the wedding or whatever Mrs. Hawking, that party Mrs. Hawking is setting up. I forgot what that
Mhm.
was in the
Yeah, yeah,
flash
yeah. It was
sideways.
like a benefit
Oh, okay.
for a museum or something.
Something completely not related to the story.
Not really. I mean, they bring in Pierre Chang, and because he works
Yeah,
at the museum, and like Charlie plays, or not,
like I yeah.
and
Uh,
and Dan Faraday plays.
yeah, and I kind of wish they had all the losties had wound up at that party or something. I kind of wish
Hmm.
that was their intersection of
They
waking
almost
up.
did that.
Yeah, they almost did. That's what I'm saying. They almost did it. Between that scene and the church scene, they almost have the scene we want,
Hmm.
where it's not about the current drama. There's no mission. It's just, okay, guys, we're over all of the major plot points. Now all we need to do is sit back and relax with a couple
Hmm.
drinks and talk about how Desmond said Claire was going to get on that
Yep.
helicopter.
Yep. And I think they could have given us, like, it could have been brief, just show that it's happening. Give us like a line or two where we eavesdrop, and we
Hmm.
just hear like little things some character says, like they mention something, and we're like, oh, that's awesome. They're talking about that.
Yeah.
And we don't even need to hear the whole conversation, you
Yeah.
know?
And even stuff like Jack being happy that Juliet is there in the Flash sideways
Hmm.
because how she died. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, even those kind of things of like, wow, your sacrifice was great, or
Hmm.
even letting her know that they didn't all die from that.
Right.
Because for all she knows, they died when she set off the bomb.
Yeah.
And they didn't go back to the present.
Yeah. Actually, no, no, no. She knows that didn't happen because she lived through the explosion. She time traveled with them, and she has a death scene with Sawyer, uh, where he goes back.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
So she knew that Sawyer survived, at least.
That's right. I forgot she's in the rubble and
Yep.
he.
She gets like multiple death scenes. It
That's
was
right. Remember that time? Yeah, like they kept wringing our hearts out with like Elizabeth Mitchell dying over and over.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird because like I had just watched the end of season 5 and her
Mhm.
death scene is like extremely dramatic and then they open season 6 with another death scene.
Yeah, it's like previously on Lost,
Yeah,
Juliet died, and here she is again. Okay, now
this
she's
week
gonna
on
die.
Lost.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they wanted to wring one more thing out of her, which was the it worked.
It worked.
And it was the vending machine.
Oh, the vending
Oh
machine.
my god. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. That should have been acknowledged somehow. Um, Not to mention the I don't know, fake afterlife baby that they had together.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's kind of weird. Purgatory baby, that's what I called him.
Mhm.
Because it's like I feel like I think Jack needed to say something about that too. I mean, I always felt like he just kind of forgets about it, and they just don't comment on it anymore.
His son?
Yeah,
Yeah, his fake son that came out of nowhere.
exactly. Yeah, his fake son like just disappears, and they just don't comment on it anymore at a certain point.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know. I felt like that transition was kind of awkward. Because that's just a big difference, I think. Most of the characters, um, they have these lives where they interact with some of the other Losties and stuff, and they have something like relating to their life from before. But in Jack and Juliet's case, like they got married, they had a baby like that never existed. Like
Mhm.
it's just kind of on another level that there's this kid there that like who is he? Like what's ugh.
Yeah. Well, it calls into question what is real in that Flash Sideways world,
Mhm.
because not all of the Losties move on from that world,
It's
but
true.
then that means that there's other these invented people who may or may not have ever existed.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's just that's strange.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really crazy.
But yeah, I still feel like Clementine should have been acknowledged in there somewhere.
Mhm.
Even if she's not in the church, I mean, there should just be something about her in the Flash Sideways. It's kind of weird. Like it seems like Sawyer just forgot about that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he did. She gets her own Flash Sideways with Cassidy.
Mhm. Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Aaron. Um, he's like there, but he's a newborn. When surely they knew him when he was older.
Mhm.
At least the people who he's most connected to there, like Claire and Kate.
Yeah, it's almost like he's the construct too.
Yeah.
He's not actually. That's not really Aaron. That's just this idea of Aaron that she still has of him being a baby.
Yeah, and it's also sort of like they go back to the state they were in when they
Yeah,
crashed on the island.
yeah,
And like that's where they first came together, like that's where they go back to, you
hmm
know, to wake up. Like I kind of get I don't know. I get the symmetry or the sort of poetic quality of that, but in terms of like emotional impact, I don't know, it doesn't quite add up for me.
yeah. Well, that's the weird quality of this taking place after they've all died. Is it's really random how you want to depict them because you could pick any point in their lives to show them in the Flash sideways at the end.
Mhm.
Why not when they're all at their latest age?
Right.
Some of them live to be, I'm sure, their natural
Pretty old.
lifespans. So
Yeah.
but it would be weird to do that. So it's kind
Right.
of natural to say, okay, well, let's go back. Let's have that symmetry, of course, back to the pilot, back to
Right.
Jack's eye at the end, all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff, like
Yeah. Yeah.
with the baby.
Which is, I mean, that's what pretty much every show does at the end. Like they always kind of look back to the
Hmm.
beginning.
Yeah,
And I mean, they were doing that all season with the Flash Sideways.
yeah.
And yeah, even even like especially so right at the end. So yeah, you're right. They have to choose something, but it's just yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I shouldn't think about it that much,
No.
and just kind of accept like this is how they depicted it. But it's like if they made it, I mean, if it's really supposed to represent what it feels like it's supposed to represent, I feel like it should be a bit different,
Hmm.
you know? But I get what you're saying, and
Yeah.
you know
It's
it.
definitely an idealized version of, everyone's happy. There's no
Yeah,
conflict in the
right,
church, like,
right.
because they're past all that now, which they should be. They're dead
Yeah,
as they were all along, right?
exactly.
I like the idea of just watching the show, going, "Yep, see this scene where they're alive? Yep, they're dead. Yeah, they was dead.
That's how you know they're dead.
Exactly. The only alive people are the ones in the coffin."
Oh God, this should be the tagline for Lost.
All right, well, pretty good episode. Pretty average, I would say. Nothing really bad.
Mhm.
Some interesting, memorable moments with Ben and his whole
Yep.
plan to get the surgery, which is still a bad plan that can't be changed. Like
Yeah.
it's such a it's such an anticlimactic like ending to all of that drama.
Mhm.
Is it's all he did it all for the surgery.
Yeah.
Um, but still some good moments here. The rabbit, Sawyer. The flashback was really not that interesting. I
Yeah.
guess it's really just perfunctory to show that he's got the daughter and he's
Mhm.
gonna set something up for her, and then they can kind of forget that, you know,
Yeah.
until later when Kate kind of comes back into that storyline with Cassidy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the only thing of interest. It really is kind of a dull flashback. I feel like uh, in a way, Locks was better.
Hmm.
Like it's a little more dynamic.
Well, yeah, and I think it told us a little bit more about Locke than we knew. And I think, but for Sawyer,
Yeah,
I don't think it told us anything we didn't already know.
that's true. That's true. It's kind of rehashing, and I think this shows the symptom of season 3 flashbacks where they're kind of running out of shit to do.
Hmm.
And it's like, then Sawyer was in prison one time and he did another con. And it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, okay. Like I agree. I think the flashback is pretty flat, except for the Clementine reveal, which at the time did not impress me.
hmm.
'Cause like, yeah, I mean, just babies on shows is just not my favorite thing.
So what? You got a baby. That don't impress
Yeah,
me much.
hey, hey, that's what I'm saying. Thank you, Shania. Thank you.
Oh, Shania, the gift that keeps on giving.
Um, I think yeah, the on island story is okay. I mean, I think there's decent conflict there. I think I do like the rabbit scene. It doesn't like it's weird and it doesn't work as much when you know what's going on, but I still
Hmm.
think it was effectively strange to watch, like
Yeah,
even when you do know.
yeah,
Like it's an interesting kind of scene that they don't do very often on Lost.
yeah,
And I think I appreciate that. Um, and I definitely like the other island reveal. Um, but it is a bit like it does feel like not that much moved in terms of the story.
yeah,
And so that's a little frustrating. But I would definitely say that even though there isn't as much going on, it's more solid. than Further Instructions was.
Yeah.
You know, like Further Instructions was just actively bad, and I think this was just kind of okay.
Yeah, yeah, like I was saying, it's just kind of average. Like, there's nothing really bad. There's nothing super great.
Yeah.
Pretty decent for season three. At least this first part of season three. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not the worst episode of the season. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of a bridge. Um, and yeah, so I mean, yeah, for this group of episodes, it's not the worst.
yeah, yeah. No, I think Further Instructions is gonna win that title.
I think so. I don't
I
think there's
think
any way.
I think Kate's I Do might give it a run for the money, but we'll see when we get there.
But I think Kate's I Do has the advantage that it's the sort of not
Yeah,
mid-season, but it's a kind of finale
it's a little bit
episode.
of a yeah, so they have to write it a little bit better.
Yeah, the drama kind of kicks it up a notch.
Yeah.
Even though like the flashback's not great, yeah, I think it's just like what's happening is more exciting to watch than this polar bear thing.
Oh yeah, the crazy polar bear.
God. Yeah, yeah. I feel like I buy the fake heart monitor more than I do the polar bear.
Yeah, yeah, that was better.
Yeah, it works better. And I think another thing that's cool about it for us with our new perspective is that it's so lost.
It's so, and that whole is so. It's literally a meta explanation of the show. If you just take
Mhm.
just that storyline, Sawyer being presented with something, he has an opinion about it.
Yep.
He has behavior based on that opinion, and then somebody explains to him what was really going on,
Mhm.
and he still can't even trust that. It's kind of
Yep.
like, well, you still have to decide what you think about what I said.
Mhm.
I'm still not going to give you really there's no objective answers to be found. It
Right.
could just be another rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It could be a trick, but yeah, you don't think it is, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can accept this if you want. It's up to you.
Mhm.
And and I love Ben's tone when he's like, "We didn't put a pacemaker in your heart."
Like, why would we do that? Why would we go through that much trouble? Like, come on.
It really feels like he's talking to me. Like I feel like, wow, I feel silly for thinking that you did.
Yeah. Why?
You know?
Just because you had a wound on your heart and a heart rate monitor, you thought I put a
Mhm.
pacemaker in you? Come on. How silly is that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the magic of TV. I bought it. I mean, come on, don't blame
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. No, it's your fault.
You know, and it's like, God, so judgmental.
Mhm.
Give me a break. But I didn't catch the hint. I mean, certainly at this stage in the show, I did not understand the implications of that.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, well, it was a trick this time, but next time it's going to be real.
Next time it's real. Yeah. And I think we don't understand how just about everything Ben does is a manipulation. Like, there is no
Yeah.
straightforward uh, answer with Ben. He's got a trick up his sleeve with like anything he's doing. Even like telling Jack, "I don't want Jack in here helping Colleen."
Mm-hmm.
No, he does.
He does. He really,
Yeah.
really does.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think we haven't fully, understood the absurdity of, oh, I'm done lying.
And I was just gonna say, and even though the first thing Danielle said is he will lie and lie and lie
Mm-hmm.
forever, like even when the world is ended, there will be Ben lying. Like, that's the first thing we learn about him. We still don't believe it. We still want to believe something we get out of him is objectively true,
Mm-hmm.
and it just turns out the only thing true about him is his name.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I always thought that because Ben is so good at making it seem like he knows stuff and
Yeah.
making it seem like he's got these like secrets and he's just gonna like manipulate you with like lies, but then like someday you'll learn the truth.
The Cabin is another great example. That's probably the next
Yes.
big meta example of that whole idea of like, no, he's just pretending. He's going to trick you, but with his acting skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you realize, like you get your hands around Ben, and you like grab him, and then like there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what? Why? He doesn't know anything. Like,
Mhm.
really?
Yeah,
Like,
the greatest con the devil ever, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing you that Ben knew something.
yes, yes, exactly. And I totally bought it up until really late, and I was so shocked in season 5 when they're like, "You've never talked to Jacob, have you?" And I'm like, what?
Yep.
Mr. Benjamin, I love Jacob Linus, like,
Mm,
never even spoke to him?
yeah.
What? And he's talking about Jacob told me, gotta follow Jacob's orders. Are you questioning Jacob? Like,
Yeah.
never spoke to him. What? Like, that was just, yeah, it just brought him down, way down in terms of like how much he is gonna be tied into Ultimate Answers.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't know anything that was going on.
And I think that's actually kind of an interesting point is he's not actually invested in the answers.
Hmm.
As much as he is disconnected from the ultimate answers, he's not actually seeking them out,
Yeah,
which helps us to believe he has those answers. He's not like
right.
Locke. He's not like I need to
True.
understand Jacob. I need to find Jacob. I need to whatever. Even though he's got Richard there to kind of prove like
Hmm.
here's somebody who has met Jacob and who is a living example of supernatural power at work. Like he's not actually because he's egocentric, so it's not really about what the island can do for him. He's now that once he has his place as the leader, that's all he cares about keeping,
Hmm.
and he's not actually seeking the answers out, which, like I said, makes us think he has the answers.
Right.
He's not
Right.
asking what is the island, even though he doesn't know.
Right. Right. He likes to pretend like he knows.
Yeah, oh, he'll pretend like if it gives him the upper hand for sure. Yeah.
It's a magic box. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh man, not the box. Oh jeez. I just think of something and the box gives it to me.
Hmm.
And how do you think the real Sawyer got to the island?
What
By
else could it possibly
submarine.
be? Yeah,
It's like why did you think it was
exactly.
anything but something practical?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He tells you that outlandish thing, and you're like, okay, well, this time it's true.
And I was waiting for that island box for so long.
Hmm.
I can't wait till they get to the temple and find that island box.
They're gonna find that box. That box is somewhere.
Yeah, that's what the box is where Smokey comes from.
Yep,
Whatever. Like,
yep, yep. Yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely very self-centered, and also, he's got these hang-ups, he's got those issues with his dad, and I
yeah,
feel like, he wanted Jacob to acknowledge him, and Jacob is like a father figure for him,
yeah,
and the fact
which
that he
makes him like
doesn't
Spock.
approve. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of have that symmetry with Locke,
Yeah,
like his relationship with his father is kind of similar, um and he's kind of scarred by that for the rest of his life, and it makes him want certain things that leads to who he becomes later.
yeah. It's something like Locke wants to actively be special. Ben doesn't actively want to be special, but he doesn't want anyone to be more special than he is.
Yeah,
So Locke threatens that when it
right.
seems like the island / Jacob is favoring Locke. He feels threatened by that. But without Locke coming into the picture, Ben would have just been happy continuing on being the leader,
Yeah,
having the book club, controlling people, being this fake king of the island.
yeah,
And not, and yeah, he does want Jacob to acknowledge him, but it's not an active thing. I think he would have been fine going on with this whole, you know, how they were operating before the Lossies got to the island.
Right. And I think ultimately what he wants is power.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they say, But yeah, if you look at the way Man in Black gets him to kill Jacob, he definitely wanted Jacob to acknowledge him, but like the real dramatic weight, the real thing that seems to be motivating him is that it was Locke and not him.
Yeah, exactly.
Why him? Why not me? What about me?
What about me? And what
It's
about you? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like if Locke wasn't there, if it wasn't like Locke's the chosen one, and he didn't acknowledge Ben. I mean, he didn't acknowledge Ben. Ben was the leader for the others for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know.
And I think that what about me is I really feel like he was killing Ben was killing his dad in that moment.
Yeah.
I feel like that was 8-year-old
Absolutely.
Ben saying, "Dad, what about me? You're not
Yeah.
paying attention to me."
Yeah.
And Dad is like, "What about you, son? I hate my life. I'm on this
Mhm.
island being a janitor. Like, I hate. What about you?" And I feel like
Mhm.
that's where that's coming from.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And so yeah, uh it is interesting. It is interesting. He's paralleled with Locke, but he's not the same.
Yeah,
He's got his own particular version of issues.
he's the difference. Main difference is he's comfortable accepting his place once his place
Yeah.
is place of power.
He wants a
Uh,
place.
he wants a place, and once he has that place, he's comfortable.
He'll
Locke is
take it.
never comfortable
Yeah.
in whatever situations
No
because he's
matter what it
always
is.
searching for more. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's the big difference. He's like, it's never enough.
yeah.
It's always like, is this it? This can't be my
Because
destiny.
even if Locke was immaculately concepted, it would have been like, okay, but for why? What's next? What does that mean for me? It
Right.
wouldn't have been enough for him just to be
Mhm.
that special. It would have been okay, but what does that mean? What do I do now that I'm that
Right.
special?
Right. Yeah, 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 exactly.
Very interesting. Very interesting. It's like this show is all about the characters.
I know, right? That's
They're
so
putting
weird.
so much time and energy into these complex characters. It's almost like that's what they want us to get out of this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not, but it's almost
It's totally
that.
not. It's all about the answers and the mysteries.
It really is. It really is. Like 90% of the show is about like the whispers.
Yep. Yep. It's all about what are the whispers. Come on, guys. Let's get to the whispers.
And the Dharma Initiative. All the secrets of the Dharma
Yeah,
Initiative.
I want to know what kind of ink they use to put their logo on everything.
Oh
That's the
God.
question I want to know.
I can't wait until we find that out.
We will. Season 6, man. Season 6. We'll get there.
Yeah, no,
That's
you're
actually
right.
funny, yeah. Since the Hydra is kind of like an octopus thing, like that's where you get ink. That'd been really weird to have like the ink factory or something.
Mhm. Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
What were you gonna say?
What are we watching now? No, I feel like when we were watching the show, we were so wrapped up. I mean, I know I was like wrapped up in the story and like the mysteries and where it was going. I didn't actually realize how those moments were tied in with the characters.
Hmm.
Like I feel like I never connected that with Ben and his father, the scene with Jacob before.
Yeah.
But like now that I think about it, it's really clear.
Yeah. Totally.
you know and the same thing with Locke, that like Man in Black kind of serves that role for Locke.
Hmm.
So it's like Jacob's Ben's father figure and Man in Black is Locke's, and it's like they're both unsatisfying to them in various ways.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of long lost brothers. They have a lot in common.
Yeah,
And like, in a different circumstance, they could have been friends. you know,
absolutely.
especially when you see Ben as like in the Flash Sideways. It would have been
Hmm.
interesting. you get, Locke being kind of a mild mannered guy working at the box factory. You can see Ben playing the same fake war games with him on
Yep.
their lunch breaks. I could totally see those two together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they kind of put them together when Locke becomes a substitute teacher, and that's where
Yeah, yeah.
Dr. Linus is teaching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You
you can
know?
totally see that they, without the inherent conflict of them, of the who's the leader of the island.
Right.
Like, yeah, they could have been friends.
Absolutely.
They could
Yeah.
have lamented their horrible fathers together.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's a tragedy.
that's one big tragedy. All right. Anything else on Every Man for Himself or the show in general?
Eventually, yes. But
Wait, this is the last podcast?
we're just gonna close it out there.
Yeah,
Thank
guys, we're done.
you.
Thanks. Finish the rest on your own.
That'd be a hilarious place
We
to
got it.
stop.
We got it from here.
There's another island. The end.
Yeah, yada yada yada. 3 more seasons.
No, I think that's good. I think that's good for now.
Okay, cool.
I like the episode, but it wasn't spectacular.
Yeah, decent.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, and we'll be back next time with the cost of living. And
Yes.
until
Infamous
then,
episode.
thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.